Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Bay Area Focus. I'm your host, Michelle Griego. We are heading back in time for our first segment, back to 1967, when thousands gathered in San Francisco for an unforgettable period in history. It was the Summer of Love. Fast forward 50 years, and the California Historical Society is celebrating this transformative moment in history. And here to discuss the 50th anniversary of the Summer of Love is Executive Director Anthea Hartig. Anthea, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Michelle. It's great to be back.
Okay, so tell me about the Summer of Love, because so much happened here in San Francisco.
Right. It became the epicenter for what we have now grouped together as kind of the countercultural movement. So you think of it as a weaving of a number of revolutions, both sexual, political, musical, artistic, and really kind of searching for a new way of living that removes some of the shackles of kind of, Father Knows Best, Ozzie and Harriet, 1950s. Sure. And San Francisco provided a kind of a beautiful incubator, if you will.
I mean, looking at the pictures here, music and dancing.
Right, and coming together in these kind of spontaneous occupations of public parks, of hilltops, of mountainsides, of the hate, right? Hate became that kind of the focus of so much activity. And you can imagine that summer with Janis Joplin living there and the Grateful Dead, looking far younger, and free bookstores opening, and the Diggers, this really wild, wonderful group, giving away free food all the time. And it was an amazing summer. And the the call out really came in 1966, of course, when people started literally dropping acid and dropping out. But also really, I think, searching for a way to an alternative way to live, and seeing San Francisco as really the place to be. So we think, hard to imagine, because they didn't like sign a card, Right. Hi, Mama, I'm leaving Ohio and going to San Francisco, and I'm going to drop out and become a hippie. And hippie, of course, is hipster, but kind of derogatory at first, and then, became part of our nomenclature. But we think that close to 100,000 young people came, some from other parts of California and many from the rest of the nation and even the world, to experience what that summer was about.
Do you think people here in the Bay Area, and especially in San Francisco, who maybe weren't around at that time, do you think they understand the history here and what really happened?
Right.
And why is it important for them to know?
I think it can get distilled into stereotypes, right? You hang out in the corner of Haight-Ashbury, you buy a tie-dye shirt, and, and maybe engage in other activities, or you listen to the Dead. But I think it's what's important to understand is that the movements that kind of started freeing up culture and embracing different ways of thinking, Eastern ideologies, the power of gender, of finding your own sense of self and of sense of love. We like to say, if you've ever done yoga, or you have ever had commonly organic foods, if you've ever meditated, if you have a personal computer, you can trace, if you like rock music and outdoor concerts, you can kind of trace a lot of that to the Summer of Love. And if you like living in San Francisco because of its openness and its accessibility and its tolerance, you can also trace that really to that summer. It wasn't pretty often, it wasn't easy, and it was filled with those tensions of people who wanted peace and people who were more pro-war, people wanted conservatism, and people wanted a more liberal way of being, but kind of all there. So it really kind of, I think, shaped us. And 50 years is that great mark, right?
Sure.
Some of us remember it. I was 3, so I don't remember a lot. But certainly it shaped us as women and as professionals. So I think it has a lot to do with how the Bay Area feels, both on the surface and then kind of right under the surface for us.
Well, the California Historical Society now has an exhibition. It's called On the Road to the Summer of Love. So what can people expect when they go?
Sure. Well, when they come down to our headquarters on Mission Street, what we really wanted to give them, our guest curator, it was the publicist for the Grateful Dead and also a historian, and our other guest curator is a countercultural historian, Dennis and Elisa. We want to take you through like the late 50s, through the rise of the beat poets, through the incredible protests, it's really starting in 1960, thinking of the free speech movement, and then the revolution that really started coming in 66, 67. So On the Road, of course, paraphrasing Jack Kerouac's famous poem,
Sure.
And really taking people on that road. So you'll see beautiful images. There's about 150 photographs, some of which have never been seen before, and beautiful memorabilia, both of the beautiful rock posters, but also some things that you don't usually see, some of the hand-drawn stuff.
Right. And it's interactive too, right?
It's interactive. You can listen to Mario Salvo give his speech when he was standing on top of the cop cart, Sproul Plaza at Berkeley in 1962, and you can listen to bits of other interviews and Jerry Garcia, and so it's a really, I think, engrossing experience.
Educational, but also
a little fun.
Yeah, a little fun. It sounds like a lot of fun. And then Love Talks too, right? What is Love Talks?
So a couple times a week, California Historical Society and our partners will present different public educational programs. Last night was Women of the Counterculture, these amazing women who truly kind of changed their lives and many others during the 60s. So you can see some on Black psychedelia with our partners at Museum of African Diaspora. So anyway, lots of really kind of fun things, and it's all available on our new website that we created for the project.
All right, it all sounds great. And I'm going to tell them about that website.
Fabulous.
Yes, if you want to see what events are taking place during the Summer of Love celebration, just log on to summerof.love. That's summerof.love. Stay with us. Our next segment mixes the beauty of performance art with breathtaking landscapes.